Welcome to part 2 of our lecture on the different classifications of plants. Picking up where we left off, here are some things you need to know about kingdom Protista. All members have eukaryotic cells. These organisms are very diverse, different, and heterogeneous. These protists can be divided into two groups: single and multicellular. Single-celled protists are motile, which means they perform movement through flagella. Multicellular protists occur as colonies or filaments. They are non-motile, which means they are not capable of movement. Fun fact, multicellular protists have different ways to get their food. Algae are photosynthetic, which means they undergo photosynthesis to make their own food. Protozoans ingest their food. Euglenoids can do both photosynthesis and ingestion. Oomycetes can absorb food in solution, which means instead of directly ingesting food like protozoans, they drain the food components in solutions they pass by. Moving on to phylums, we have phylum Chlorophyta. Species under phylum Chlorophyta possess some of the most beautiful chloroplast in all photosynthetic organisms. Some green algae are seaweeds, resembling lettuce leaves or long green ropes, can produce both sexually and asexually. Look like thread-like filaments, plate-like colonies, net-like tubes, or halospurs. Our first organism under phylum Chlorophyta is Chlamydomonas. They are a common inhabitant in freshwater pools. They are unicellular, with slightly oval-shaped cell with a complex multi-layered wall, and possess a pair of flagella and cup-shaped chloroplast. Next is Eulothrix. They are thread-like algae that consist of a single row of cylindrical cells. These cylindrical cells are attached end-to-end, forming a thread or filament. They contain a distinct nucleus, vacuole, and large, thin chloroplast, and are found in dead twigs, rocks, and other debris in cold freshwater, ponds, lakes, and streams. The filaments are normally found unbranched. Sporogyra, the filaments surrounded by watery sheaths. They float in masses on the surface of quiet waters, contain ribbon-shaped chloroplasts. They are spiral-shaped, giving it its name, and can do photosynthesis. Volvox. Volvox are organisms that are a line of green algae that form colonies held together in secretion of gelatinous material. Each colony may consist of hundreds to thousands of cells that resemble a hollow ball. Sea lettuce. Sea lettuce are also known as ulva. They are multicellular seaweed with flattened, crinkly-edged blades that may be up to 1 meter long. Cladophora. Cladophora is a type of organism that is composed of branched, filamentous green algae, represented in both fresh and marine waters, and is a multinucleate, or has more than one nuclei. Oedogonium. They are green algae that attach to aquatic flowering plants. They are epiphytic, not parasitic, which means they grow on other plants but do not drain their nutrients. They contain swollen reproductive cells and net-like chloroplast. Chlorella. They are used in many investigations of photosynthesis and respiration, also used as portable oxygen sources and food sources. Desmid. Unicellular organisms that can either be crescent-shaped or star-shaped. They are free-floating, reproduce by conjugation, and found in acid bogs to test quality of water samples. Moving on to phylum Chromophyta. They are organisms of each class that share several features including food reserves, specialized pigments, and other cell characteristics. Yellow-green algae live in mostly freshwater organisms, contain two flagella oriented in opposite directions, contain flucoxanthin, and do asexual reproduction. Golden brown algae occur in the plankton of freshwater and contain motile cells with flagella of unequal length, oriented at right angles. Diatoms are unicellular, abundant in colder marine habitants, and contain 1 to 2 chloroplasts. Brown algae are large and multicellular, have thallus, which is differentiated into holdfast, stipe, and flattened leaf-like blades. Red algae, or Rhodophyta, have complex life cycles involving 3 different thallus structures, contain red-purplish color stems from pigments called phycobilins, and contain chlorophylls A and D. Euglenoids contain spindle-shaped cells with no rigid cell wall, changes shape as the organism moves along, have the presence of gullet to ingest food, and have a red eye spot to detect light. Dinoflagellates are mostly marine but some live in freshwater. They are present in red tide with 2 flagella attached adjacently, Dinoflagellates are important in the food chain and have bioluminescence to signify its presence. Haptophytes. They are unicellular with two smooth flagella of similar length. They are present in both salt and freshwater. These organisms are smaller than diatoms and dinoflagellates and are capable of calcification. They can also produce alkanones. Alkanones contain around 37 to 39 to 50 carbon compounds that produce acid polysaccharides. Stoneworts, primarily aquatic organisms of shallow freshwater lakes. They precipitate calcium salts on their surface and have minimal importance to humans, but provide habitat and food for fish and aquatic organisms. Algin. They are a common ingredient in ice cream, salad dressing, toothpaste, jelly beans, latex, penicillin, paper, ceramics, and floor polish. Produced by different types of seaweeds, most notably giant kelp. Agar, produced abundantly by the algae Gelidium and has the consistency of gelatin. Myxomycota, or plasmodial slime molds, contain no chlorophyll and are incapable of producing their own food. Structure resembling short human hair. Cellular slime molds are individual amoeba-like cells that feed independently. They divide and produce separate new cells over time and contains a mass called pseudoplasmodium. Water molds, or mycota, are often found in dead insects such as houseflies. They cause disease on fish and other aquatic organisms. That concludes our lecture. Thank you for listening. Check out more content in our other social media profiles. Check out also our Patreon for more exclusive content. Prices are low this month, so don't miss out.